Welcome to Games from Folk Tales, a podcast that mixes historical research and tabletop role-playing settings. I'm your host, Timothy Ferguson, and this is your monster of the month, the Dead Men of Pest. We've been getting a heap of useful material out of decadent and romantic poets, so let's continue. John Merivale was part of Lord Byron's social circle, and this poem is about a vampiric plague in Pest, which is one of the three cities that merged to form modern Budapest in Hungary. The following recording was released into the public domain by a Newgate novelist, who is one of my favourite LibriVox recorders. Thanks to her and to her production team. In your campaign, is this a single revener, in which case it's the largest one ever recorded, or are these alternately thousands of reveners? House Tremare is going to want them stamped out, but the vast number of vampires gives them advantage at night when they are active. During the day they sleep, allowing even young magi to participate in the search and destroy mission. Some vampires, however, might stay awake in darkened spaces, and they have some sort of mesmeric power that might work on grogs or magi with weak parme magicae. As for stats, these are a variety of Revna which are already fully written up in Realms of Power the Infernal.
The Dead Men of Pest by John Herman Merivale. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgate Novelist. I left the chalky cliffs of old England, and paced through many a region fair to see, through the realm of Greece and Holy Land, until I journeyed into sad Hungary. I saw old Cecrops town, and famous Rome, but David's holy place I liked best. I saw strange sights that made me pine for home, but much the strangest in the town of Pest. It was a goodly city, fair to see. By its proud walls and stately towers it gave a delicate aspect to the country, with its brig of boats across the Danau's wave. Yet many things with grief I did survey. The streets all were mantled o'er with grass, and, though it were upon the Sabbath day, no bells did toll to call the folk to mass. The churchyard gates with bars were closed fast, like to a sinful and accursed place. It showed as though the judgment day were past, and the dead exiled from the throne of grace. At last an aged carle came halting by. A woeful wight he was, and sad of cheer, of whom, if aught of cell or bower were nigh, for weary pilgrim's rest I 'gan to speer. "Stranger," he said, "in Mary's name depart," and when thus spoken would have passed me by. His hollow voice sank deep into my heart, yet I would not let him pass, and asked, "Why?" "'Tis now midday," quoth he, "the sun shines bright, and all things glad, but only here in Pest, but an 'twere winter wild, at dead of night. Not here, O stranger, shouldst thou seek to rest, though rain in torrents fell and cold wind blew, and thou with travail sore, and hunger pale." "Though the sun," said I, "shine bright, and the day be new, I'll not depart until thou'st told thy tale." This woeful wight then took me by the hand. His, like a skeleton's, was bony and cold. He leaned as though he scarce mote go or stand, like one who fourscore years hath, haply, told. We came together to the market cross, and the wight, all woe begone, spake never word. No living thing was seen our path to cross, though dolor's groans from many a house I heard. Save one poor dog that stalked athwart a court, fearfully howling with most piteous wail. The sad man whistled in a dismal sort, and the poor thing slunk away and hid his tail. I felt my very blood creep in my veins, my bones were icy cold, my hair on end. I wished myself again upon the plains, yet could not but that sad old man attend. The sad old man sat down upon a stone, and I sat on another at his side. He heaved mournfully a piteous groan, and then to ease my doubts his self applied. "Stranger," quoth he, "regard my visage well, and eke these bony fingers feel again. How many winters seemeth it they tell?" I doubtingly replied, 60. "Stranger, not 40 years agone I lay an infant mewling in the nurse's arms. Not 40 days agone 2 daughters gay did make me joyful by their opening charms. Yet now I seem some 80 winters old, and every drop of blood hath left my veins. All's my fair daughters twain lie stiff and cold, and bloodless, bound in death's eternal chains. Stranger, this town so pleasant to our sights, with goodly towers and palaces so fair, whilom for gentle dames and valiant knights, from all Hungaria's land the meed did bear. But now the few, still rescued from the dead, are sobbing out their breath in sorry guise. All that had strength to flee long since have fled, save only I, who long to close mine eyes. 7 weeks are past since our folk began to pine and fall away, no reason why. The ruddiest visage turned to pale and wan, and glassy stillness filmed the brightest eye. Some doctors said the lakes did agues breed, but spring returning would the same disperse, whiles others, contrary to nature's creed, averred the season's change would make us worse. And though we laugh at these, like doters fond, or faitors wont in paradox to deal, yet as the sun waxed warm throughout the land, all men the more did wintry shiverings feel. At length it chanced that one of station high fell sick and died upon the 7th day. They oped the corse, the hidden cause to spy, and found that all the blood was drained away. There was a tailor, Vulvius by name, who long amongst us dwelt in honest pride, a worthy citizen esteemed by fame, that since some month of a sudden died. Now thus it happed, as oft it chanceth so, that, after he was gone, strange rumours spread of evil haunts where 'twas his wont to go, and midnight visitations to the dead. Now when this fearful malady had grown to such an height as men were loath to say, amongst the rest in our unhappy town, my darling daughters sore tormented lay. Nathless I marked that ever whiles they pined, their appetite for food increased the more. They fed on richest meats whene'er they dined, and drank of old Tokay my choicest store. Thus every eve their colour fresh arose, and they did look again both brisk and gay. All night deep slumbers did their eyelids close, but worse and worse they walks by break of day. One night it chanced, as they sleeping laid, their serving wench at midnight sought their room, to bring some posset, broth, or jelly, made to quell the plague that did their lives consume. When, ere she reached the spot, A heavy sound of footsteps lumbering up the stair she heard, and soon as they had gained the topmost round, the buried tailor to her sight appeared. She heard him ope my daughter's chamber door, her light let fall, she had no force to cry. Then in brief space again, for so she swore, it lumbered down, but far more heavily. This story heard, albeit I inly smiled, to think this seely maid such fears could shake. Yet the next night, to prove her fancies wild, I kept myself, till past midnight, awake. When at the midnight bell a sound I heard, of heavy lumbering steps, a sound of dread, the tailor Vulvius to my sight appeared, and all my senses at the instant fled. Next day I found a friar of mickle grace, a learned clerk, and prayed he would me read, in such a strange, perplexed, and devilish case, his ghostly counsel how 'twere best proceed. Into the churchyard we together went, and he at every gravestone said a prayer, till at the tailor Vulvius' monument we stopped. A spade and mattock had we there. We digged the earth wherein the tailor lay, till at the tailor's coffin we arrived, nor there, I ween, much labour found that day, for every bolt was drawn, and the hinges rived. This sight was strange, but stranger was to see the corse, though laid some months' space in mould, did show like living man, full blithe of glee, and ruddy, fresh, and comely to behold. And now the cause we haply mote presume, the vampire, so he named this demon guest, had burst the sacred cerements of the tomb, and of the buried corse himself possessed. This news, when through the town we made it known, unusual horror seized the stoutest wights, as deeming not the tailor's grave alone had been so made a haunt of damned sprites. The churchyard now was digged all about, and every new-made grave laid bare to view, when every corse that they did dig thereout seemed like the first of fresh and ruddy hue. 'Twas plain the corses that the churchyards filled were they who nightly lumbered up our stair, who sucked our blood, the living banquet swilled, and left us all bestraught with blank despair. And now the priests burn incense in the choir, and scatter Ave Marias o'er the grave, and purify the church with lustral fire, and cast all things profane in Danao's wave. And they've barred with iron bars the churchyard pale, to keep them in, but vain is all they do, for when a dead man hath learnt to draw a nail, he can also burst an iron bolt in two. The saddled man here ended. I arose, with mingled grief and wonderment possessed. I rode 9 leagues or ere I sought repose, and never again came nigh the town of Pest.
Your saga may vary.